Most HVAC owners focus on getting new maintenance members, but the real money leak happens quietly every month through churn. And so in this video, I'll show you how one chart reveals whether your maintenance plan is growing or quietly shrinking. And so churn is a very important thing to calculate, and it's really easy to calculate once you have your data structured. And so I'm going to show you how to calculate this, how many active members you have for the month, how many churn, and what that percent is. And you might look at like, oh, it's only 1%, 0.6%. But the real way to look at it is over the course of a year. So in other words, the sum of this is 121, and then you would want the average of the same. So 501, so equals, this divided by this. So you have a 24% churn rate, right? So, which isn't good. And so let's look at how to calculate this data. Okay, so pretty basic data set. You have a month, and then you have the customer ID. Then you have things like residential services, how'd you acquire them, all that stuff. But the main thing we need is was the plan active at the beginning of the month, and did they cancel, right? And so essentially by each month, what's the count of ones or the sum of ones, because this is binary. And then for the cancel flag, what is the count of ones? And then you divide the count of ones for cancel divided by the count of ones for the active at the beginning of the month, and then you're good. So it's pretty straightforward. So let me just copy these over here just to save a couple seconds. But what we'll need first, here, let me show you how to calculate this real quick. We need to calculate the end of the month. Super easy to calculate. Equals EO month, the end of the month, for the snapshot. So comma 0, and then you have that. So that's the column. These are the values that we're going to use for the calculations. But I have the same exact thing right here, so I'll delete it. Just wanted to show you how it's done. Okay, so that column we just created, we want a unique list of that. And so I'm going to go to equals unique, and then month here. And then what I'll do is format it, and then let's just make sure it's sorted, the correct sequence, which it is. And then I'll center everything. Okay, so to get the number of active members, it's just COUNTIF, or you can also do SUMIF because it's binary. So the sum of the ones is the same as the count of the ones. So COUNTIF S, and then plan active at beginning of the month, right here, comma, and then you have over here the month, comma, and then cell B3, which is the month. So it's just how many active members were there for the month of January. Let's see, where did I mess up? Right here. I thought I did comma 1, but I guess not. Okay, so 261, and you can see the upward trend, which is good, right? But now we need to do the same formula pretty much. I'll do SUMIF this time just to show you that both of them work. So we want to sum the cancel flag column here. This is the column we want to sum, comma, and we want to, the criteria range is this. I mean, actually, you can just do sum that if this here, comma, is again B3 here. And so you can see the churn rates. And then you just divide the two. Equals this divided by this. And you get your percentage. Control Shift 5. And I'll add a decimal to that. And then also I'll make a target, say 1.5%, and I'll show you why. And then underneath just equals the one above it here. Okay, so now we just want to create a chart. And I'm going to do active members. I'm not going to do churn. I'm going to do active as the columns, and then I'm going to do these two as the lines. One as the actual, and then one as the target. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight these two columns, hold down Control, and then highlight these two. And then insert recommended charts. And you're not going to see what you want because you sort of have to configure Excel to show you that. So go to all charts and then combo. And what a combo chart lets you do is it lets you do multiple things. One, it lets you create a secondary axis. Like we want the line on this axis, right? We don't want 1.1% on the same axis as 600, right? Like it won't show. And then also it lets you choose what you want the values to be represented as. Meaning, right now we also want this on a secondary axis, but we don't want that to be a column. We want it to be a line as well, right? So you can go through each metric you're trying to visualize, and you can choose what you want it to be. So it's really quite useful. And so yeah, that's how you calculate it. Pretty straightforward. Let me copy this. And then what I'll do is I will change this green line. I'm going to double click on the green line, and then this pulls up, and then the little paint bucket. And then you can change it to whatever color you want. I'll just do orange and maybe make it just a little bit thinner. I mean, you just want to see it. You don't want it to take up a whole lot of space. You want to see something that's easy to see what's above and below. And you can change the color to black. Maybe black is actually better here. Let's see. Let's see if black looks better. Okay, so let's leave it at black. And then also, if you remember the target cell here, so if we say you have a 2% target, right? So anything below is good, right? But say you have a 1% target, you can see, as you change this number, you can see, the way the different the values above and below. And then finally, if you want the values on the chart, like if you click on the chart and you have the crosshair and you do data labels, it's super noisy. Even if you choose just one, like let's choose the line here and do data labels. Like maybe that's not too bad for you, but if you just want like the high and the low value, just click on the high value. Just click it twice. You'll see it's the only thing with the little box, and then do data label. And then let's find a low value like right here, and then data label. And then if you click both, then you can put like a little background or something to make it a little bit easier to see, something like that, instead of having all that noise. But yeah, so that's how you calculate it. Pretty straightforward. Again, once you have your data structured. And so I understand, it's not the easiest thing to do. And also the way to look at this is not to look at, 1% isn't a lot, because it's 1% a month. So, 12% a year, but even with that, this is higher, meaning we did it before. So let's just take the total churn, in the data set, which is 284. I'll do a sum equals sum 284, and then I'll do an average. Right. So yeah, this is way higher. This is 50%, greater than 50%. Right. And even if you took the highest value in the data set, it's still 55%, which means if you don't add new members, you don't have any members in 2 years, right? You have 100 in year 1, you lose 50. You have 50 you lose 55 in year 1. And then in year 2 you lose, 45, the remaining. And so you want to make sure, to control this number, because churn is a very, very important number to calculate, because then you can do a bunch of other things. You can calculate lifetime value of a customer, which will let you know how much money to spend on to acquire a customer. So there's a lot of different things that this one specific number can help, calculate. It's important to have it, but it's also hard to keep track of it. And so yeah, so anyways, if you have any questions about this one, shoot me an email, questions@databoards.io. And if you want this data set, there's a link to download it with my answers, with my formulas, with all that stuff. If you can't find the link, shoot me an email. And also, if you need some help getting your data structured in this, in this format, getting the KPIs or getting your reporting done, and also, some guidance on the insights and stuff like that. Not that you don't know, but, we're all busy. And if you would like just, something like that done for you, then shoot me an email, or there's a link to my calendar, and we can have a chat. But anyways, that is it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.